these two Sephiroth statues in front of me are probably two of the best quarter-scale Sephiroths around. Actually, videos of my unboxing of these two did pretty good, so it's time to compare them to each other. The one to my left is the Corgi Pro Kit Sephiroth. This one does have wings, but I chose to not display them due to its height. And the one to my right is the Blue Sky Sephiroth, and I do have the wings displayed on this one as it doesn't really take much space to display, especially if angled properly. Both are custom statues and did not arrive perfect. Like always, we will be talking about the concept, quality, and of course, which I think did it better. For the concept, the one to my left has a very small footprint in terms of width, not so much on the depth thanks to the sword right here poking out. However, like I mentioned before, the height is really tall for this one as his wings is going upwards. I do love the clear resin they use on the base and they do actually light up. Not sure what this stony or rooty looking thing on the base is, but it's part of its engineering or the structure of the statue. As for Sephiroth, he's on a walking type of pose with his sphere flying to his right. Now moving on to the other Sephiroth, the base reminds me a lot of XM's White Magneto. If you have that statue, you'd see a lot of similar elements from the ground to the metal parts of the statue. Engineering is really good on this one and I'm actually quite impressed. I can't seem to tell where the base of the statue would be located in the game though. But either way, it looks good. Going to Sephiroth himself, he's on a much more simpler pose with his hair just dropping down. Gotta hand it to the Corgi Sephiroth to my left for the concept. I do enjoy the clear resin a lot and whatever this thing is on the base and it doesn't take much space to display. And the wings does look a lot better when displayed compared to the Blue Sky one. So that's a point to the Corgi Sephiroth. Now let's check out the quality. First is the sculpt. The Corgi Sephiroth sculpt is pretty solid. Actually, it has a lot more textures all throughout Sephiroth's costume, inside and out. One thing I noticed about this Sephiroth is his head looks a little smaller than it needs to be. Not by a lot, but it could be just me too. Now, the Blue Sky Sephiroth also has those textures inside and out. However, it has less textures on his pants and boots as the Corgi one. Not really less, but different kind of texture, and it is much more pronounced to the Corgi statue. Also, I noticed this Sephiroth is a tad bigger than the Corgi one, and it is much well proportioned, which means his anatomy is perfect to me. Plus, you see a lot more in the base on this Sephiroth than the other. As for the likeness, I like the Blue Sky a lot more than the Corgi, so I gotta give the point to the Blue Sky Sephiroth. Moving on to the paint, I think it's no competition as the Blue Sky Sephiroth has shading all throughout the statue and just has a lot more colors compared to the Corgi Sephiroth. The Corgi one has almost one type of color to the base. Sephiroth is painted with this glossy black and nothing else. His skin tone is much more pale compared to the Blue Sky one. Their hair are both painted the same though. The Blue Sky Sephiroth skin tone is much more human-like in my opinion, and there's much more life to the statue than the other, which gives another point to the Blue Sky Sephiroth. I would also like to add that the eyes on the Blue Sky Sephiroth is remarkable as they are made out of glass eyes, and the sword is actually made out of real metal, which just brings this statue to a whole new level in my opinion. The Corgi Sephiroth is actually bent if you look at it on the side. It needs to be hooked to the base to stay put. There's a lot of seams on the Corgi as well, but not visible as they are dark color, but they are there if you look for them. And as for the wings, it's much more scarier and riskier than the Blue Sky one if displayed. And there has been leaning problems with this Sephiroth, but mine seems to be okay as I don't have the wings on him. And it doesn't look bad actually being displayed without the wings, and you couldn't even see the keyhole at the back. Assembly also is 100% a problem on the Corgi Sephiroth. It took us probably 2 or 3 people to assemble him due to the complexity of the interconnected parts of his wings, the base, and etc. As I mentioned in the intro, both statues did not came in 100% perfect. Both of them has the same crack or seam on the head or hair, more so on the Blue Sky Sephiroth. However, the Corgi Sephiroth came with a few breaks on the hair, definitely fixable but not worth the time in my opinion, so I just added blue tack on there to hold it in place. Anyway, with all those said, gotta give the win to the Blue Sky Sephiroth. If not for the nicer concept in my opinion on the Corgi Sephiroth, it would not have scored anything. But everything else from skull, paint, overall quality, even the nice addition of glass eyes and the metal sword, the Blue Sky Sephiroth is just the clear winner, no doubt. So if you're looking for a Sephiroth statue, then get this one. If you want an in-depth unboxing and review of the Blue Sky Sephiroth, you can check out the video right here. This is Carl and see you in the next one.